This one, oh my god. This might be... I don't even say that sentence. This might be the tightest fit yet. Yeah, so this is what it's like being around heavyweight strongman. What is going on, guys? Coach Matt here at the Lion's Den. No, I'm not dead. The videos are coming back. Had some life events, changed some things with my schedule, but we're coming back. Got a lot of videos for you guys coming. Liar! So I'm here with a familiar face, Joey, the owner of the gym. We have a new face with us. We have Ken here. And Ken, can you just give him a little synopsis of yourself, what you do for work, and your history with Strongman here?
So my name's Ken Nowicki. I own Strength USA, and I've been competing in Strongman for the last 15 years.
A little more than that.
You're more than that.
Super humble here. Come on now.
I'm former Scotland's Strongest Man winner. I've competed at Europe's Strongest Man, American Opens, main stage of the Arnold, stuff like that.
So when we're talking all things Strongman, Ken is your man, and obviously with Cerberus, they're huge business knowledge here as well. So with having two high-level Strongman competitors here, we're just going to lead off with trying to grow our community. So for any of you that are interested in Strongman, you see my small lightweight self stuck between these two heavyweights. This is literally for everyone. So I just wanted them to give kind of their advice for someone that's looking to get into Strongman for the first time. They're nervous. They don't know maybe how to sign up for competitions, or they're worried if they're strong enough for competitions. Just the advice you'd give them to kind of calm them down. So either one of you can start on that.
Okay, so the biggest one for me is just do it. Honestly, just do it. There's so many people who will be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to wait until I have X numbers to compete. No, just get in there and compete. With training, build your base. Build your base, then get into some event-specific work, but compete. The only way you can learn the sport is to compete. When I was getting started in the sport, first couple of years, I only did like 1 or 2 shows a year, and then I dramatically increased that, and my event proficiency went through the roof. The more you compete, the better you'll become. That's the biggest one for me.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Ken was saying, I think a lot of people don't know where to begin, and it can start with just you. So if like you want to get some friends together, you can easily just create some of the implements, and train in your backyard, whatever. Just like he said, just do it. But I think I'll take a different perspective of being a gym owner, right? Say you own a gym, or you guys train somewhere, go to the gym owner, or if you are the owner, just run a competition, right? Because that is how we're going to grow the sport. Yep. So here at the Den, we try to have 3 or 4 shows a year that we put on. And the main focus of that is getting people who haven't done it before to get some exposure and experience with Strongman. We have a huge novice class for all of our competitions. We want them to have a great experience, and when they do, they spread word to their friends and family and get them involved in the sport. So from that perspective, guys, grow the sport by hosting competitions and encouraging people to get involved.
Right on, guys. I think what Ken said is big there too, is literally just throw yourself into it. Me and Joe will see this all the time here as people kind of first walk into our gym, and there's that big intimidation factor just with seeing all the implements. People are really scared of it. It ends up being by far everyone's favorite class here at our gym, so it's just one of those things you gotta kind of get your feet wet with it first, and then it grows from there. Okay, second question for them, and I always love hearing higher level lifters answer this question, is what would you take back in your training, or what was one huge mistake with your training that you kind of look back on now that you're just like, oh my god, how did I ever do that? Could be programming, technique wise with lifts, or like an old philosophy with lifting that you used to have, anything like that.
So a big one for me is going to be maxing out all the time. Like when I was in college, it would be like, okay, well this week I'm going to hit this single, and then next week I'm going to try and beat it, and try and beat it, and try and beat it, and that was the problem. Like, I'm always testing my strength, I was never really building it. So that, for programming side, I would have gone an actual proper program far sooner, I think. And then in terms of philosophy, honestly, not take it seriously. Like for me, my biggest one was, well, I have to win this contest, then to get to this contest, then to try and get to this contest, then to try and get to this contest. the biggest thing I found was that when I actually just went into a contest enjoying it and not, I mean, you're taking it seriously, but you're trying to have fun. We're not going to make millions of dollars off of this, you know, or 99.999% of us aren't. Enjoy it, and then you will compete so much better. That's what I found personally. You know, when I took it less seriously and less focused on the future, I enjoyed the contest way more, and I actually performed better too.
Yeah, I think I could piggyback off everything that he has said. You know, I've fallen into the same trap there. For me, I would say if I knew I was going to get involved with Strongman, probably putting more emphasis into the compound lifts. I think it's a blessing or curse for me as an athlete where I do like almost everything. So for me, getting a little bit more specific earlier on probably would have helped my base grow. But at the same time, I'm a pretty versatile athlete. So it kind of has worked out in my favor, but I think overall, looking back at my younger self, just more time building a really strong, bigger base, deadlifting more, you know, strict pressing more, and that probably would have benefited me now in the sport, and I'm kind of playing catch up with that over the last couple of years.
Right on, guys. So we'll go the exact opposite. So not like a huge mess up with your training, but one tip, one piece of advice that you kind of got and it really clicked for you that has kind of markedly either improved your training in terms of programming, of how you're coming in each day with a mindset, or it could even be for a single lift that just that one tip kind of markedly increased your training.
To be honest, it links right back in with the enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, again, same deal. I'd come in the gym and I'd be like, oh, well, you know, I'm training for this contest coming up and I have to win this show. And if I don't win this show, then I can't go to this show. And that was the big thing. Like, as soon as I took that pressure off, everything just seemed to get better. Like, it flowed better, the pressure was down. Everything just seemed to click more. I trained and I enjoyed it more. If I had to say one thing, like, actual really specific to programming, increasing the volume with the compound stuff, for sure. Because you can still go heavy. You can still go heavy, do 3s, do 5s. Hell, if you're feeling really crappy that day, do a set of 8. You know, you can still push the limit, and just don't be maxing out all the time. Don't go going to RPE 15 or whatever. You know, just enjoy it and get the volume in, because the volume is where you build. That's, I think, for me, the biggest one with that.
Yeah, I think for myself, you know, having the education of when injuries happen has been huge. Where before, like, so, you know, I talked about in the videos on my channel recently, like the other night I tweaked my back, and the old me years ago probably would have just not trained, you know, for a couple days or taken it really easy. But instead I focus on more what I can do, and I train, you know, around and through injury so that I'm not missing out on training sessions and I'm recovering faster. So today we had done axle bar clean and presses, and we just modified it a little bit. So instead of me not doing it, I was able to participate. So in training, understanding how that has a role with your training. Also just investing in yourself with good coaching, good programming. You know, it is worth the money. You will always learn something from coaches, you know, and it's a great investment that will come full circle. And then I think the last one I would say is creating a good training environment and culture. You know, my training partners are stronger than me, which, you know, subsequently pushes me past my limits. And, you know, the environment that we have in the gym is very positive. Everybody's encouraging each other. We don't really have any negativity or negative vibes in here. So, you know, building that will only make you a better person. So often I always tell people, like, look at who you surround yourself with when you're training and in life. And if you're trying to level up, surround yourself with people who are going to help you level up. And that'll be very true in the gym.
Right on. So I can't let the two strongman competitors leave without answering questions for tips on both the strict press and the deadlift. If you're not familiar with the sport of strongman, those are our two really big compound lifts that kind of matter the most in terms of our general training turning over into our more specific training. So we'll start with the strict press. You guys can give either one tip or any knowledge that you'd like them to know in terms of increasing their strict press. I know for a lot of people they feel very frustrated with this lift, and it's a very specific lift to increase. So just want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, like, for me, it's been one of the hardest ones to increase. Like, my pressing, you know, I got into sport at 17, and because I didn't have that brute strength, I compensated for that by learning to push jerk, learning to, you know, be a very explosive athlete and not really focus on the brute strength. I think now if I had to say one thing for strict press, honestly, probably focus on tricep strength. Because like as soon as you can get it to a certain point, then it becomes all triceps.
Yep.
And I think that's where a lot of people fail. They're able to get it off their shoulders, but then they fail right where tricep kicks in.
Right on.
Yeah.
For the press, since we're looking at the shoulders, I think the shoulders are relatively a smaller muscle group, and I think people underestimate the frequency that they can have with training shoulders. So, if you're training shoulders 1 time per week and you're wondering why it's not increasing, try to add a second day. If you're doing 2, go to 3. We've pressed 3 or 4 days a week, and we've been able to control that by variations, and also doing exercise that will strengthen the triceps or parts of the press to increase those weak areas. But if you're obviously on this channel, we like increased frequency if it's done correctly, and I think for me that was a game changer, because I would only press 1 time per week, and I kind of hit that plateau, and it didn't start changing until I increased that frequency and the variation of the lift.
That's what we'll see that a lot with strict press, is people be complaining, it's like, yeah, it's not going anywhere. And Joey and I are asking, it's just like, it's 3 sets of 10 and you're programming as an accessory lift after your 4 bench days. It's like, bro, if you want it to increase, you're going to have to train this. So it does have to be a priority. It can't just be in the background.
And real important, what he said is if you want to increase that lift, put it in the first day of the first week of your training. So like on Monday, your first movement should be pressing, right? Like he had said, a lot of times in the past, it's like our 3rd lift. So we're already fatigued. It's not going to transfer over. So put focus on that. I just want to emphasize that so you guys understand what he was saying there. It's very key.
All right, and we'll do the same exact thing. Obviously, deadlift kind of becomes king, and just that kind of hinge pattern with our lower back for a whole bunch of movements in strongman. So any tips for that kind of deadlift strength, lower back strength, anything like that?
I think the biggest one for me for deadlift is going to be learning to actually engage your back and lock in. You'll see a lot of times when people will try and pull hard off the floor, and they'll be in a really, really good starting position, and then as soon as they start the pull, everything just completely just comes unhinged. And they'll be in a nice position, and then they're flicking over and all that sort of stuff. A big thing for me is learning lat activation, scapular retraction, all that sort of stuff. So naturally, you hold your position throughout the lift. And a big one for me that I really like is actually narrow stance safety bar squat in Olympic shoes, because it forces you to get like that upright pattern, keep your upper back tight, and because of safety bar plus the Olympic shoes is trying to force you forward.
So I would say pretty much all the same tips I gave for the press, do with the deadlift. On top of that, for me, I'm still trying to figure it out. So I can't, this is a difficult question for me because I'm one of these guys trying to consistently do research. But I would say don't be afraid to try different techniques with the deadlift. Sometimes we see a lifter and we want to emulate how they lift, and what works for them may not work for you. So, try to play with stance. And when I say make these tweaks, give it a fair shot of time. So don't just try it once. If it doesn't go as planned, it's just write it off your list. Like train with it for a couple of blocks, and see. Do you need to widen your stance? Do you need to keep your stance narrow? Try, different grip position, or what's your toe angle like? I think the more advanced you get, little things like that can be crucial. And I'm always trying to play around with different stuff and give it a shot. So I can pull 750 pounds, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I think everybody can always be trying to learn.
100%.
Right on, guys. Appreciate both of you. So a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience between these guys sitting on this couch. So I do appreciate you guys sharing your tips for today. If you're subscribed to my channel, I almost guarantee you're subscribed to Joey's channel, szatstrength. But if you are not, go subscribe to szatstrength. And Ken, what is the name for your channel?
It's literally just Ken Nowicki.
There you go.
There you go.
Just Kenzik.
Come on. What is it?
Ken Nowicki.
Nowicki.
Yeah.
Nowicki. He doesn't even say the N. It's just like Nowicki. You do?
Nowicki.
Nowicki. Could you imagine us on a plane? That's how I feel right now. I feel like we're on a strongman plane. And Matt's in the middle.
It's getting fucking warm, I'm not gonna lie. It's getting toasty.
Who needs Cerberus belts when you got 2 big strong men? You know what I'm saying?
Thanks so much, guys, for the video. Hope to catch y'all in some future content. Catch y'all next time.